What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 4 different Grayscale trusts today. We're going to talk about BCHG, LTCN, GXLM, and Mana today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it. Right, BCHG sitting at about 793. Last week we closed 11.4% to the upside. It looks like a red candle, but you actually opened up your week so high that yes, you did come down from where you opened the week, but you were up compared to last week's close. So nice 11.4% move to close the week out there. Looking like you do want to move up higher. To me, it seems like you have this overall parabolic move or whatever you want to call it, and then a consolidation phase. I don't know if it's a cup and handle. You could call it that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but some kind of consolidation phase, and it looks to be breaking out here positively. I suppose this could be a cup and handle. I don't know. Can it be that far down? Do they have to be symmetrical? I don't know the rules of it. Would it be? I don't know. Anyways, regardless, move up, consolidation phase. It looks to be that we're breaking it right now. So I would assume we're in the midst, even if it doesn't seem like it right now, we're in the midst of this next phase up, which is probably going to take us to $37.50 to $67, something like that. Yes, I'm aware of the 4th round. I believe it's the 4th round of private placement sales that are going on for the Grayscale Trust. It's BS, guys. I mean, I really don't know what to say at this point, right? It's part of the reason why I think investing in any kind of derivative is more risky, because that human element is there, right? Whenever you invest in a crypto, you're investing in the software, right? And it depends. Certain cryptos can have that human element involved depending on how centralized they are, but these trusts, they are centralized. They're fully centralized, so you really do have that human element at a high there, and humans can mess things up, and they can sell your shares of Grayscale Trust, well, not your shares, but their shares to people at a cheaper price while you're having to buy it here on the open markets. They're buying it behind closed doors. Not really behind closed doors. I suppose it's like a public thing, but you have to be of a certain level of wealth to be able to, whether you're an individual or an entity, to get involved in these private placements. But I digress. All I'm trying to say, guys, is I don't know where the high is going to be for this thing, right? We've confidently been calling for the high for BCHG this whole cycle to be somewhere. It's going to be somewhere, guys. No, somewhere between about 250 to 527. And I don't know if it's appropriate to take those targets off the table, but with all these private placement sales, again, I think this is the 4th round, and we still probably have a full year of Bitcoin bull market to go, guys. I don't know, is this the last round? Are there more rounds of these private placements going on? Each one has to diminish this thing's capability, and any Grayscale Trust capability that's a part of these private placement sales to see higher highs, right? And I don't mean higher highs in the sense of higher highs than this. I do believe Bitcoin Cash, Grayscale Trust could still see higher highs. I definitely do. It's just, is 530 still a possible target? I don't know. You know, there are fib targets to the point there, but there are other things at play that might outweigh the fibs. I don't know how it's going to affect everything. But what I do know is you look bullish, regardless of the PP sales or not. BCH itself, I was looking at the 4-hour chart here. It's up from where it was on Friday, right? By the time the Grayscale Trust closed, it was like somewhere around this 4-hour period. We were at like 430 or something like that. We're at 447 now. So just being up that much in price, it's not like a lot, but that would be enough to set BCHG for a good green open tomorrow. And then assuming that BCH itself looks pretty bullish with these higher lows here, bullish looking 4-hour RSI, it does look like you want to begin this move up and begin moving higher. Not only is BCH at a higher price than when BCHG closed on Friday, but I do believe it will continue to proceed higher. So not only will BCHG open green tomorrow, I think it will continue green throughout the week and heading on, right? And that just basically lines up with this idea that, again, we're breaking out of this consolidation phase here and trying to find that next area. Regardless of the private placement sales or not, the next area as defined by what we have in the fibs here would be $33. Okay, you're at $7.93, and I don't care what's going on. That's your minimum target, okay, $33. Now, that's not the target for the end of the cycle. That's just the minimum target for the end of this move. Being that you topped off at the 786 and you had this long to consolidate, I'd be very surprised if you did this. But again, there were a few rounds of private placement sales that came out throughout this time, so or maybe at least a couple. So who knows? I don't know if that'll hurt the potential or not, right? But this would be the minimum target. You could go higher still. And again, this is by the end of this move. I don't know if it'll be by the end of the year. I would expect that you're at least above $30 by the end of the year, but are you going to be at new all-time highs by the end of the year? That remains to be seen, right? I've been somewhat confident in that so far, but again, with these PP sales going on, it throws my I don't know what word to think here. Throws my faith off a little bit. I don't know, right? I still have hope. I still do, but I suppose we'll see. I do at any rate expect, regardless of the private placement sales, that Bitcoin Cash moving up 10% or 20% or 50% would result in BCHG moving up a magnitude higher, right? Even with these private placement sales, it might hurt. It might diminish its overall potential maximum gains that we could see, but I would still expect day to day, week to week, we see this thing with greater returns. There will still be a premium that continues to grow away from that NAV. But anyways, I hope that makes sense. I hope that went a little bit more in depth than just the TA stuff. Right? I've given you some targets to look forward to, and then also kind of explained my thoughts on the PP sales. Right? We call them PP sales because they're PP poo poo sales. I don't know, man. It's this legal thing that shouldn't be legal, in my opinion, and probably in all of your opinions. But whatever, it's legal, I suppose. It's only legal because the people that passed the laws were probably getting bribed by the people who wanted to exploit this law. Or I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, LTCN, high to low here. 618, right? Down to the 382-236 area. Not really much to go off of with that. We'll take that away. High to low here, bounce off the 0.5. Not common, but we'll take it. Getting above the 382, nice. 23.6%. I have been saying, really since this low down here, right? Probably since August, if not definitely September and onward, I've been saying that I'm not positive, but I think LTCN could outperform BCHG, right? BCHG, it has been dominating compared to compared to LTCN. BCHG has been a magnitude higher in growth overall this cycle so far. But I've been saying for a while, LTCN could outpace BCHG on this next move up, and potentially even for the rest of the cycle, because LTC itself is just coiled up and ready to go. And somebody was asking, and I gave an answer either on the live stream or maybe I answered it in the Discord. I can't remember. But they were asking, Litecoin's moving up. How come LTCN's not moving up? And the initial thought that I had wasn't the answer that I gave, and I should have given the initial thought because this person asked it on, I believe it was Saturday. If it wasn't Saturday, it was Friday, but after the Grayscale Trust closed. No, it was Saturday. It was on Saturday. So they were asking, why is Litecoin moving up, but LTCN isn't moving up? So I hope this answers your question. Grayscale Trusts are not open on the weekends, right? So LTC moved up. Yeah, it broke out over the weekend, but LTCN was closed. So it's just frozen, right? It'll catch up. It will, right? If it doesn't catch up, LTCN people, we got the green week we were looking for, right? Good job. You held the higher lows. Nice. You got above your 382. Beautiful. All the good things, all the right time. But if you don't move up starting the week with as bullish of a weekend as LTC has had, I would expect that LTCN has a pretty bullish beginning to next week as well. Let's see. Where did you close? Or around where did you close? I don't know if it's the exact hour, but something around. I believe it would be the 20 hour. Something like that. It would be something around here. I don't know. 83 bucks. We'll just say 83 bucks. Litecoin was there. Now it's at 10.2% higher. So I would expect LTCN to just gap up, open up this week more than 10% higher, right? Probably like you're at 1640 right now. I would expect you to open up above $18, right? Maybe even above $19. You could open up way higher, but that also remains to be seen with Litecoin. Does it come down before the open? That could change. Does it move up before the open? That could increase this open. But and again, this is like a minimum guess. Just because I would expect you gain more than what Litecoin does, but likely you'd see something that's like 1.5 to 2 times bigger the move, or maybe even more than that. You might see LTCN just move right on up to 25 bucks. You don't know, right? But really, kind of like BCHG, it had this move up, right? Nice kind of parabolic shape, consolidated, and now it's breaking out, but it's still in this consolidation phase. This consolidation phase is slowly breaking out of this consolidation phase, right? It's broken out of that, but you still haven't gotten that pop. you're going to get a pop, whether it's up or down, you're going to get it. And I think it is going to be up, and it's coming soon. And I suspect it could happen by the end of this month. It might even happen beginning tomorrow. So we'll see. We could be in the midst of it now. That initial pop, that move, you'll notice it. It'll be distinguishable from anything we've seen so far since like August. Initially would probably take us up to $27.66 to $31.43, and then ultimately we would expect prices at $88 to $162 by the end of the year. I don't know if that's the case, but by the end of the move is what I would feel comfortable with, and potentially higher. You still could do potentially higher because, again, I'm expecting a lot of big things to come from Litecoin here, guys. I really am. And regardless of the private placement sales, again, because LTCN and BCHG are kind of lower on the totem pole as far as the Grayscale Trust premiums go, they might not be affected as much by these PP sales. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. I really don't know, right? But that's just my opinion. I still think they will be negatively impacted. I think it will hurt their overall potential for their high this cycle. I think it will. But I don't know how much, right? I don't know if it's as bad as it might seem. Maybe it's worse than I'm making it sound. I really don't know. I'm not a good judge of this kind of situation. But what I am a good judge of is the fact that Litecoin itself is likely going to make a move probably up to $170 to $200 here pretty soon. I think you're in the middle of that move now. And whether you do it over the next month, whether it takes you until January to get here, I don't know. But something of like a 81% to 115% move, if Litecoin's got that in the bag, I would assume LTCN would at least like double that or even triple that, right? So, I mean, overall, right? And that might sound crazy, but again, double, triple that overall. Last time we moved up from a low in December of 2022 to the high of April in 2024, we did a 27x. From the low in December of 2022, what was it? Is that right? Low of December 2022 would have been this low here, whatever, June of 2022, earlier than that, to the high that we experienced even this year. The high overall in this range, right? Because this was April 2024. This April 2024, we were at a lower high. So even this was 185%, right? We didn't even grow 200%, and we saw a 27x. So if I'm expecting that we see 115% growth, potentially by the end of the year, if not by the end of this move for Litecoin, and potentially higher, absolutely. These are like the minimum expected targets. We could go higher. But by the end of this move, sometime, if not by the end of the year, by the end of January, then I think it's safe to assume that LTCN would do, I think, again, at least a 2x, or at least a 3x, because it was 100%, which would take you to the relative highs here. Or if we took it in kind of tandem with this move here, maybe you would see something more of like a 10x, and that could put you all the way up at $179 by the end of the move, not by the end of the year, maybe by the end of the year, but by the end of the move. And hey, that's right around your golden extension, your 1618 there. So it kind of makes sense, right? Going off of the same ratio of growth. I think that was off, or maybe I cut it in half. I think it's the same ratio of growth, but right, 185 to a 27. I guess it's not quite. This would actually be a lower ratio of growth, but again, we're expecting. I'm thinking this move is going to happen a little bit faster than this move, right? Think from this low to this high, it took all this time. I'm thinking this move here is going to be equivalent to like what we saw right here, right? It's going to be something more like that. Not just a straight line up. You get a little bit of a pivot here. I'm going to delete this line so you can see what I'm talking about, right? A little bit of a pivot, so you might see something like that, but I don't expect it's going to be like this overall. But time will tell. Again, as crazy as it might sound, by the end of the year, this thing could really be worth $88 by the end of the year. And by the end of this move, you could be worth double that even, or more. Or more, genuinely. Even with the private placement sales, yes. I think LTCN and BCHG, probably, obviously, ETCG would be the safest ones from these private placement things. ETCG is probably not even available if it's at a discount. Why would you put it on there, right? You're gonna charge people more than what they could buy on the open markets. Anyways, GXLM is the next one. This one, excited to talk about this one because XLM was killing it this past week. Doing great, man. Up 131%. You earn it, man. You deserve it. You know what's crazy? I feel like I should have seen this coming, right? XLM, very popular crypto, but nobody's been talking about it, right? It's kind of like Litecoin, right? And who am I to say? But those popular coins that everyone knows about but nobody's talking about, those are the ones. They're like working in the shadows, man, and they do their best work in the shadows, right? And then it pops off, and people are like, "Oh, I missed it. It's too late." And then it goes up more. They're like, "Oh, well, it's just breaking out new all-time highs. Maybe this thing will keep going. I should get into it." And then, "Oh, I should have gotten into it. I'm going to FOMO the top," and then it dies. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't happen like that at all. But all I'm saying is we're at 21.2 cents on stellar lumens. Monthly RSI is getting into that overbought zone. If we remain at prices here over the next 12 days and 21 hours or higher, we will achieve overbought readings on the RSI, which would be great. Every time we do that, we see phenomenal growth, right? Like here was the first month right here. This is the beginning month, the end month that we saw closing in the overbought zone. The very following month, we grew 600%. The next time we got overbought, the beginning of it was this month here, and we grew a nice bit, 145%. The following month, we grew 393%. And then the following month, we grew another 50%, probably more with that wick up there, right? This time you got overbought, and it wasn't as dramatic afterwards, but you did grow 140% that month that you got overbought. And then over the next months, like over the preceding 4 to 5 months, is that 4? That's 4 months. You grew another 160%. So getting overbought is a good thing. Even if it's not the most spectacular thing like it was back here, it's still a good thing over time. So getting overbought on the monthly, again, you do find your tops there, but on a monthly perspective, when you first get overbought, you're probably going to be there for months. You know what I mean? So that gives you a good estimate of you've got months left of growth to happen. Probably 5 months, 6 months, who knows how long, but something like that, maybe more. It varies each time, but hopefully we can decipher that as we go forward. Anyways, weekly RSI here looking pretty overbought as well. We are at the 85, 86 area. If we're looking at this thing for what it is, relative high to relative low. Come on now, is that the low? That's the low. Up to the 0.5, not a common area to reject. I would expect you continue moving. I want to see what the daily looks like. I think you do. I think I think you keep moving. Wow. XLM. 21 cents now. I think you move up to 32 cents, 38 cents. Okay, where were you on Friday? I got a little carried away. I forgot we're talking about GXLM here. Friday you were down here. So Friday, XLM, the underlying asset, was basically here. At its potential highest, it was at like 14.5 cents. Now you're up 46% from there, right? And you look like you want to keep moving up. So GXLM is going to have a hell of a time opening the week. If anybody's out there, this is your first time messing around with these Grayscale trusts, I want you to understand the price is at $28.24, and I am saying essentially that it's got a very strong likelihood of moving up more than 50% just to open the week, okay? Just to open the week. You're not going to be able to buy at these prices. By the time the market opens, it's going to be gapped up super hard on you. Or maybe there's like a very small buy order so that there's no gap. But anyways, 28.24 now, probably going to be 50% up because I doubt XLM itself drops too much, and it probably does continue to rise going into tomorrow. So you're probably going to see, I mean, you're at 28.24. You're going to see this thing up above $40, at the least near $40, but probably above $40 just to start the day tomorrow is what I would expect. If not, you know, if it moves up less, if it opens up the day less, then maybe it just progresses to climb throughout the rest of the day. But I do believe XLM itself has more growth to go, right? And actually, maybe I should do this. Sorry. Keep it there because we don't know yet, right? 114% overall. If GXLM here would have to catch up, just to catch up, it would have to hit 114%, right? And I'm not saying, because XLM isn't there yet. I'm just expecting that it at least goes there, which means that I would expect that GXLM at least goes to about $61 in a very short amount of time. I'm talking days, probably by the end of this week, if not by the end of next week, by the end of this month, definitely, right? That's the kind of time frame I'm talking about. So this thing's going to blast off here. Because this, again, this 115% is only if it moves basically the same amount, right? 114%. But what we know about these Grayscale trusts is that's not the case, is it, right? If we go back to November 8th, 2024, to the high that we had on that Friday, November 8th. So let's see, November 8th, go on the daily. Take it from the low. November 8th to this Friday. Oh, but it would have been, anyways, 48.2%. This thing moved up 90%, right? So 48.2, it basically doubled that, right? And this, by the way, this is actually measuring the closing price of Friday. I think it would have been lower, so maybe it does basically double. If we're expecting XLM to potentially move up 114% overall, this would be if it tracked it. I would expect then, by that same kind of idea, that you would see GXLM move up to like 230, probably up to $100, man. You're at 28.24 now. You guys, GXLM is on a moon mission to prices around, if not well above, $100. And I mean, if we look at this fib here, that puts you really close to the 1270. You didn't even hit it. I would expect you do. You could really go, things get crazy. You could move all the way up to 200, man. This thing has the potential to do some serious damage by the end of the year. And if not by the end of the year, certainly by the end of this move, which could be, by the end of January. But GXLM, guys, looking frisky. And it's not too late. What's pretty cool about this, and it is Grayscale Trust, there's less liquidity, blah, blah, blah. Volatility happens. If you bought into this, you'd probably still catch a solid bit of this move. Like, I don't even think it's halfway done. Just looking at this, it's not even halfway done. And with the opening of tomorrow, right, let's see, it'll probably open up, what, 40, 50%? That's what we're saying. So it's going to tear through its golden ratio. You still have like well over half of this move potentially if you wanted to get in. But the thing is, here's what I will advise: is nothing's promised. If you get into something like this, which is moving up so much, you have to accept that it could move down and retrace. And if it does, either you buy more or you just wait. Because the upside is inevitable. I do believe that it is going to see higher highs inevitably. These private placement sales do suck, but at least you have 6 months left, and we have the most bullish time of the bull market to go through right now. So hopefully that gives us time to at least rally in the meantime before the private placements get unlocked. But big things for GXLM. Again, I'm not advocating that anybody like buys here necessarily. I don't know. Maybe I am. It's not a bad idea. I don't know. If you're looking to invest in the Grayscale Trust right now, this thing looks, and especially if you're just looking for a short-term trade to get in and get out and potentially double your money, right? All you do is just buy it open tomorrow and then just wait up till like the end of this month or until it doubles. I feel like it'd be a very safe trade. It's probably going to happen in that amount of time. I don't know. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm sorry if I make that sound enticing and it doesn't happen. Sometimes timing does go off for me. The targets happen, but instead of it happening in a week or two, like I think it's going to happen, it happens in like a month or two, right? Sometimes that happens. But regardless, very short amount of time for pretty substantial growth. And again, from where we are, it says 236%, but I want you to take it in perspective of this thing's going to be up dramatically from where it is starting tomorrow. So more like 130 potentially, and actually it'd probably be more like 160 to 235, maybe even more than that. Still decent gains, right? Yeah. Okay, GXLM, looking frisky. Looking pretty frisky, yeah. If we're looking for the all-time high potential by the end of the cycle, I really don't know, man. You're going to hit new all-time highs with this move probably, right? By the end of this move, I suspect that at least. But as far as the cycle goes, we got a lot of time left. I don't know, and there's not enough history for me to really give a fair shake of that analysis. If I had to guess, above $200, below $600, but who knows, man? It could be above $1,300 and below $4,000. I really don't know. I don't. It really depends on this. It depends on this. So, yeah. And XLM itself, I mean, it does have history, to be fair, and it looks just like LTC kind of. XMR, right? XRP, BCH, they've got these multi-cycle consolidation phases, and this is one of those OG coins that I think will break its consolidation phase this cycle. A consolidation phase this massive, when you break it, you're not just going to break it barely. You're gonna go through the stratosphere, man. You're gonna go. This thing could be worth more than $3 by the end of the cycle. It could be worth even more. Like, who knows? Let's see. 246 to 847. Those are the kind of main target areas, primary target areas. But you could go. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how high that thing. That'd be a pretty high market cap, but anything's possible, I suppose. I would expect at least 246 by the end of the cycle, so at least more than a 10x from here for XLM, which would imply, and again, this GXLM would probably top off before XLM itself, but that would imply, let's assume that even half of this grows, right? Right. like instead of a 10x, you see a 5x, and by the time you hit that, well, you do see a 10x overall, but by the time GXLM tops off, you're only at a 5x or something like that, right? So then if you've got a 5x to grow from, 5x would be 400% in growth, right? And I would think that that's a very, very, very safe bet, because again, that's the 5x. That's just matching it tit for tat, but it would likely double, right? So you would, and more than double even, but you'd get a 10x, okay? Or a 5, that's crazy. A 5x is 400%, but a 10x is 900%. Is that right? How does that make any sense? Because you're at 400, right? This should be a 5x, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. I'm sorry, guys. I'm drawing a blank here. Just bear with me. This is kind of, I'm having a brain fart. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay, so it does make sense. Because you don't count from the 4. Okay. Anyways, a little bit of a brain fart. I would assume then that GXLM has a minimum potential by the end of this cycle to see prices above 280. I feel like I'm playing it on the safe side with that. Yeah, I think so. So genuinely, and that's not like an accurate representation, right? Watch you top off at 450. Maybe you top off at 800. I don't know, right? Maybe you top off right at 300. But what I do believe to know is that you probably do make it around $300, if not probably above there, by the end of this cycle for GXLM. So likely well above that. But anyways, short term, that's more like long term stuff. Short term, it looks very, very exciting. Let's talk about Mana and wrap this bad boy up. Okay, Mana, Grayscale Trust. Looking at it here on the weekly, we're looking at the underlying asset as well, Mana USD, on Kraken for the all-time history. Right, Mana is starting to show some life as well. Moved up a little bit, just like XLM did over the weekend here. Let's look at the 4 hour so that we can get where that price was by the time the Grayscale Trust closed on Friday. That would have been here. Right, is that the day? Let's see. So something, I think it would have been lower than this, but whatever. 34.8 cents. This will just be a more conservative target if it was lower than this, but from here to there, right? We're up 16.6%. The underlying asset is since the Grayscale Trust closed on Friday. So even if you were to match that 16.6-ish, right, you'd probably exceed it a little bit, but basically we'd expect that Mana opens up above 1386 tomorrow, right? You're at 1190 now. You'd probably open up a couple bucks is what that means. And probably on your way higher, I would assume, right? Overall, I do believe you're on your way higher. I think this will see higher highs. And I think Mana itself, the underlying asset, wants to, kind of like Litecoin, wants to return to the top of its range, but break through it. I think this is the time that it really does do that. And by the end of this move, like this was one move here, this was an up move, this was another up move, this was a down move, this was a down move. We're starting our next up move, right? By the end of this up move, I would expect that we are not stopping here like we did the last two times, but we're breaking out and going higher. Probably an overall 618 retracement of this range here is what I would expect. And I think maybe it's appropriate. I don't know if it'd be appropriate to take this. Maybe it is, all the way down to the low there. 167. And if I didn't take it to the low, it would just move the 618 higher, right? 185 now instead of 167. So this is a more conservative target anyways. But 167 would be the minimum target that we have for Mana. And from the current price, damn, what was the price? Whatever. From the current price, that would be like a 300 to 400% growth. That would definitely imply a lot for the Grayscale Trust Mana. From a high to a low, 3 to 400. I mean, you'd likely just keeping up with the underlying asset. That's where you'd be, basically around the all-time highs, but likely you would double that, right? We've established that, at least that, if not probably more. I would think that by the end of Mana, the underlying assets move, you are up around 167 to 212. By the end of this move, I would expect by the end of the year, if not by the end of January. And then for the Grayscale Trust, same kind of time frame, but you're up around like 140 maybe. You're at 1190 now. I know it sounds crazy, man, but this could be crazy stuff if it happens the way I think it's going to happen. If Mana shows up, if it really starts to skyrocket, then it'll help propel this thing forward for sure. But I got nothing else to say, guys. I think I went over everything. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to add. All of these things probably get a nice pop tomorrow to the upside, and I think Bitcoin looks strong. I expect that this is the week that we are going to close above $100,000. Certainly above 95K. I definitely believe that that's in the bag, but it remains to be seen if we'll get above 100K. If not by the end of this week, then next week it is. But I think I really do feel confident, you guys. I mean, we've been doing it. If we look at the weekly on Bitcoin itself, and the only reason I'm going over this is because it's relevant to all crypto stuff. The week before, we were at 66.8K. We closed the week at 80K, right? We weren't even at 70K. We closed the week at 80K. The next week, we closed our week at 89.8K, basically 90K. This week here, we could very well close it at 100K. We're on the right track. So that's all I got, guys. Exciting times ahead for Bitcoin, for crypto, for all the Grayscale trusts. Not excited about the PP trusts or the PP sales, but what are you going to do? Okay, all we can do is complain about it. Or if you have enough cash, you can participate, but that's really all we can do at this point. So anyways, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Hit that like button on your way out, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye-bye.